Let's start our first news. Ian Garry has never lacked confidence, and that hasn't changed one bit ahead of the biggest fight of his career. Ever since he was officially booked to face Islam Makhachev in the main event of UFC 330, Garry has continued to make one thing perfectly clear. He believes he's about to shock the entire world on August 15th. While many fans recognize Garry as one of the most talented rising stars in MMA, plenty of people still believe his biggest weakness is his wrestling and ground game. Unfortunately for him, that's exactly where Islam has dominated almost everyone he's faced. Standing across from one of the most dangerous grapplers and submission specialists in the sport would make most fighters cautious, but Garry refuses to back down. Speaking with Irish Boxing, Garry once again made it clear that he expects to leave the cage as the winner. He praised Islam's incredible accomplishments, saying he has nothing but respect for everything the champion has achieved inside the UFC. However, he also insisted that respect won't stop him from taking the title. Garry confidently declared that when they meet on August 15th, he will defeat the #1 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. He promised he will beat the reigning two-division world champion, dismantle him from start to finish, and prove to everyone that he belongs at the very top of the sport. According to Garry, a victory over a fighter as dominant as Islam wouldn't just earn him championship gold. It would instantly make his case as the best fighter in the world. Garry believes the result will leave absolutely no room for debate or excuses. In his eyes, defeating someone with Islam's legendary resume would be undeniable proof that he deserves to be recognized as the greatest fighter on the planet. With supreme confidence and zero hesitation, Garry is promising the performance of a lifetime. Move on to another news. Arman has unleashed a brutal attack on Paddy Pimblett, claiming the UFC carefully built his entire career by giving him favorable matchups instead of legitimate elite competition. The top lightweight contender didn't hold back while discussing Paddy's rise through the rankings, insisting that the popular British star has not faced the level of opposition required to prove himself against the division's best. According to Arman, Paddy simply doesn't have the skills needed to compete with the top 5 lightweights in the UFC. He argued that the promotion has done everything possible to protect and push Paddy by matching him against opponents he was expected to beat before rewarding him with a massive fight against Justin Gaethje. In Arman's opinion, that opportunity had nothing to do with merit inside the octagon and everything to do with Paddy's popularity, entertaining personality, and ability to sell fights on the microphone. Arman also made his personal feelings crystal clear, ending his fiery criticism by calling Paddy a piece of trash and leaving no doubt about how he truly feels. While Arman was tearing apart Paddy's resume, Justin Gaethje also added fuel to the fire with comments about their fight. Justin explained that many fans continue to underestimate his grappling ability, despite the work he has put into improving every aspect of his game. He confidently stated that he was in complete control whenever the fight hit the mat, and even claimed he could have submitted Paddy if he had chosen to pursue the finish. Justin emphasized that his ground game has reached a completely different level after spending countless hours sharpening his wrestling and submissions following his submission defeat to Charles Oliveira. He promised that he has worked relentlessly to eliminate the weaknesses that cost him in the past, and warned the rest of the lightweight division that they should be prepared for a much more dangerous version of himself, both on the feet and on the ground. Move on to another news. Alexander Volkanovski believes Max Holloway will have his hand raised when he faces Conor at UFC 329, but he also warned fans that this matchup will be far more difficult than many are expecting. With the highly anticipated fight now just days away, Max has entered the contest as the betting favorite, leading many to believe he will comfortably defeat the former two-division champion. However, Volkanovski explained that overlooking Conor's power would be a huge mistake. Even if Conor is no longer in his prime, Volkanovski believes his speed, timing, and knockout ability remain extremely dangerous, especially during the opening rounds. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Volkanovski shared his breakdown of the fight and emphasized that Max must approach the contest with patience and discipline. According to him, many fans expect Max to pressure Conor immediately and overwhelm him with his famous volume striking. But Volkanovski doesn't believe that will be the smartest strategy. Instead, he expects Max to show respect for Conor's explosive left hand early in the fight, avoid unnecessary risks, and carefully manage the distance until the biggest threats have passed. Volkanovski explained that if Max charges forward without caution, Conor could create serious problems with one perfectly timed punch. That is exactly why he expects Max to fight intelligently rather than recklessly. He believes Max has the experience, fight IQ, and composure to recognize the dangerous moments and make the right adjustments throughout the contest. Volkanovski also pointed out that Max has consistently shown his ability to adapt during high-level fights, making him one of the smartest competitors in the sport. While Volkanovski expects Conor to have moments of success and remind everyone of his incredible power, he ultimately believes Max will stay calm, avoid the biggest shots, and slowly take control as the fight progresses. If Max follows that disciplined game plan, Volkanovski is confident he will neutralize the early danger, outwork Conor over the later rounds, and secure a convincing victory inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Conor is sending a strong warning to Max Holloway ahead of their massive UFC 329 showdown. And after watching his latest training footage, many fans are starting to believe that the former champion may truly be returning to his old form. In a video released by the Mac Life, Conor showed off his intense preparation while also opening up about his obsession with mixed martial arts and the mindset that has kept him motivated throughout his career. Conor explained that he does not believe success comes from natural talent alone. Instead, he believes everything comes from dedication, discipline, and the willingness to put in endless hours of work. According to him, what separates him from others is not simply ability, but his obsession with becoming better every single day. He stated that he has gained more experience, developed more skills across different areas of martial arts, and believes he remains a dangerous opponent anywhere inside the octagon. Conor made it clear that he feels comfortable in every situation, claiming he can hurt an opponent from any position, and that Max Holloway will be facing a completely different version of this time. He believes Max has improved tremendously since their previous fight and has used the lessons from that experience to build an incredible career. However, Conor insists that he is returning to remind everyone about the difference in levels at the highest stage of competition. The Irish superstar also spoke about the importance of the event and how much motivation he has heading into the fight. He described the magnitude of the moment as something special and said he is fully focused on staying disciplined, dedicated, and prepared for everything that comes with such a huge opportunity. Conor explained that there is no room for ego during training, only learning, improving techniques, sharpening his strikes, and becoming the best version of himself. Looking back at his first fight with Max, Conor acknowledged that Holloway took valuable lessons from that experience and went on to achieve incredible things in the sport. But now, he believes this is his opportunity to showcase his evolution and deliver another memorable performance. Conor is promising a masterpiece on Fight Night, claiming fans will see a completely focused and dangerous competitor. With both fighters carrying impressive legacies, this highly anticipated matchup is expected to bring fireworks from the opening bell. Move on to another news. Conor's future in the UFC has become one of the biggest topics of discussion in the MMA world, with fans and analysts wondering how the final two fights on his current contract could play out. Many are questioning what comes next for the former two-division champion after his highly anticipated return. And now veteran voices are breaking down the possible scenarios waiting for him after his matchup with Max Holloway. Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson recently discussed the situation in detail, analyzing the potential outcomes of Conor's next chapter. They started by looking at the massive rematch against Max Holloway and explained why this fight actually makes sense for Conor at this stage of his career. Facing a fighter like Max, who relies on incredible volume, pressure, and non-stop pace, could provide Conor with the type of challenge that tests his timing, accuracy, and legendary striking ability. However, The conversation became even more interesting when they discussed what could happen if Conor loses the fight. The analysts explored several possible options, including a potential matchup with Michael Chandler. Despite Chandler experiencing difficulties in recent fights, they believe his name value and fighting style could still make him an attractive opponent for Conor. Another major topic was the possibility of finally completing the legendary Nate Diaz trilogy. The two fighters already created one of the most memorable rivalries in UFC history, and some believe finishing that story could be the perfect way for Conor to close out his career if he decides to step away from competition. Big John McCarthy also shared his personal thoughts on the Holloway matchup, explaining that there is a major difference between staying active in competition and simply training. He pointed out that Max has been consistently fighting, improving, and evolving since their first meeting, while Conor has spent a significant amount of time away from the octagon. McCarthy acknowledged that Conor is still extremely dangerous, especially in the opening round. He believes that early in the fight, Conor has the ability to challenge almost anyone because of his timing, power, and precision. But after that first round, especially against a fighter competing at 170 pounds, the challenge becomes much more difficult. According to McCarthy, the biggest question is whether Conor can maintain the same level of intensity after the early exchanges. While he believes Conor will give everything he has during his comeback, returning after a long absence against an elite fighter like Max Holloway represents a steep challenge. The outcome could determine not only the next step of Conor's career, but also how the final chapters of his UFC journey will be remembered. Move on to another news. Ian Garry has responded to Khabib's warning ahead of his massive UFC 330 title fight against Islam Makhachev, and he made it clear that he is not bothered by the criticism coming from the champion's team. The situation started when Khabib was asked to analyze the upcoming matchup, and the former lightweight champion gave a very confident prediction. Khabib explained that he does not see a realistic path to victory for Garry, pointing toward Islam's incredible record, elite wrestling, and relentless pressure inside the octagon. Khabib stated that although Islam and his team are taking Garry seriously, he believes Islam will enter the fight and completely control the contest. The comments quickly reached Garry, and the Irish contender responded with a strong message of his own. During an interview with Red Corner MMA, Garry dismissed the doubts surrounding him and reminded everyone of his own impressive record. He highlighted his 17-1 career record and pointed to dominant victories over high-level opponents like Carlos Pratis and Belal Muhammad as proof that he belongs among the elite fighters in the sport. Garry believes his striking advantage will create major problems for Islam. He confidently stated that when they finally step into the octagon on August 15th, he plans to break down the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world and deliver one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. While Garry showed respect for everything Islam has achieved, he made it clear that respect will not stop him from chasing greatness. He believes defeating Islam and becoming champion would prove that he is the best fighter on the planet. Garry also claimed that his arrival as welterweight champion would bring even more excitement to the division. He pointed out the incredible matchups waiting at welterweight, including possible fights with Carlos Pratis, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Michael Morales, Gabriel Bonfim, and Sean Brady. According to Garry, the division is filled with dangerous contenders and has never been stronger. With confidence at an all-time high, Ian Garry believes UFC 330 will be the night he shocks the world and changes the entire landscape of the welterweight division. Move on to another news. A huge new proposal has emerged for the future of the BMF belt, and it could completely change how the title is handled inside the UFC. With Charles Oliveira now holding the BMF championship after defeating Max Holloway, many fans have started questioning what direction the belt should take next. Originally, it appeared that the UFC had plans for the BMF title to be involved in the upcoming UFC 329 matchup. But those plans changed after Oliveira captured the championship. Now, a large part of the MMA community is debating whether the current version of the BMF belt truly represents what it was created for. The criticism comes from the fact that Oliveira is known as one of the greatest submission artists in UFC history. Some fans believe the BMF title was built around fighters who deliver exciting stand-up battles and non-stop action, rather than fights focused heavily on takedowns and grappling exchanges. Because of that, several ideas have been suggested to change the rules surrounding BMF fights. Some fans have proposed limiting grappling, while others have suggested special rules that encourage fighters to stand and trade during the final moments of the fight. However, Dean Thomas has introduced a different idea that has gained attention. Thomas believes the UFC should create a new BMF fight every year at Madison Square Garden. Instead of having one champion defend the belt repeatedly, he believes the promotion should select two fighters who represent the BMF mentality at that moment, regardless of gender, weight class, or division. According to Thomas, this would keep the title special and prevent it from becoming just another championship that requires regular defenses. He explained that the belt was originally created for a specific moment between Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, not necessarily to become a traditional title with rankings and mandatory challengers. Thomas also suggested that if Oliveira continues holding the belt, the UFC could potentially book him against Justin Gaethje to settle the situation before moving on and creating a fresh BMF matchup in the future. This idea would allow any fighter with the right style, attitude, and performances to earn a shot at the BMF title, keeping the championship unpredictable, exciting, and true to its original meaning.